2 Samuel chapter 5. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David in Hevron and said, "Here, we are your own flesh and bone. In the past, when Sha'ul was king over us, it was you who led Israel's military campaigns, and Adonai said to you, 'You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will be chief over Israel.'" So all the leaders of Israel came to the king in Hevron, and King David made a covenant with them in Hevron, in the presence of Adonai. Then they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began his rule, and he ruled 40 years. In Hevron he ruled over Y'hudah 7 years and 6 months. Then in Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, he ruled 33 years over all Israel and Y'hudah. The king and his men went to Yerushalayim to attack the Yevuzi, the inhabitants of that region. They taunted David, "You won't get in here. Even the blind and the lame could fend you off." In other words, they were thinking, David will never get in here. Nevertheless, David captured the stronghold of Zion, also known now as the City of David. What David said on that day was, "In order to attack the Yevuzi, you have to climb up from the spring outside the city through the water tunnel. Then you can do away with those so-called lame and blind, whom David despises, hence the expression, 'The blind and lame keep him from entering the house.'" David lived in the stronghold and called it the City of David. Then David built up the city around it, starting at the Millo, earth rampart, and working inward. David grew greater and greater because Adonai, the God of armies, was with him. Hiram, the king of Zor, sent envoys to David with cedar logs, and with them were carpenters and stonemasons, and they built David a palace. David then knew that Adonai had set him up as king over Israel and increased his royal power for the sake of his people. David took for himself more concubines and wives in Yerushalayim after coming from Hebron, so that still more sons and daughters were born to David. Here are the names of those born to him in Yerushalayim: Shammua, Shovav, Natan, Shlomo, Yivkar, Elishua, Nepheg, Yafia, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphelet. When the Philistine heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, all the Philistine went up in search of David. On learning it, David went down to the stronghold. The Philistine came and deployed in the Rephaim valley. David consulted Adonai, asking, "Should I attack the Philistine? Will you hand them over to me?" Adonai answered David, "Attack. I will certainly hand the Philistine over to you." So David went to Baal Paratzim and defeated them there. He said, "Adonai has broken through my enemies for me like a river breaking through its banks." This is why he called the place Baal Paratzim, Lord of breaking through. The Philistine had left their idols there, so David and his men took them away. The Philistine came up again and deployed in the Rephaim valley. When David consulted Adonai, he said, "Don't attack. Circle behind them and engage them opposite the balsam trees. When you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the balsam trees, advance, because then Adonai has gone out ahead of you to defeat the army of the Philistine." David did exactly as Adonai had ordered him to do, and pursued his attack on the Philistine from Geva all the way to Gezer. End of Shemuel Bet, 2 Samuel chapter 5.